Fred was going to give us a review of his journey, as the others have, and we do want to know that. But there's a complete detail. It would take a long time, and many of us have read it, and we're very familiar with it because we've been following Fred for a number of months, and it's right there on his website. And his website is the twinflameproject.com. And Fred also has a page on our website for this Lightworker community, newearthascending.com. You'll see Twin Flame Project as one of the pages, and it will be ongoing. But just to kind of bring people up to speed, Fred, because you and your twin, and we're going to talk twins now, folks, loud and clear. You and your twin had a plan when you both incarnated here on the surface, and you did connect in human physicality for a brief period. And when was that, Fred?
Back in 1978. She approached me and asked me to her prom. She was 2 years older than I was, and that was actually, I was told that was part of her mission, was to make contact with me, and that's how it all began. Do you want me to continue, or you want to add something?
Yeah, well, you got to you really kind of, as I remember, and to be concise, because there's so much happening in present time, I want to get up there. But there was, even though she was 2 years older than you, and she graduated, and you were still in high school, so you didn't share the same school environment anymore. You still stayed in touch with each other, but yet again, she was living in the outside world, and you were still in school. But you still had that uncanny connection that you didn't understand, but you felt so at home with. Am I correct?
Yes, exactly. You hit it right on the nose. It was perfect. What happened was we were together as a regular couple, probably for about...
I don't hear you very well, Fred. Are you...
No. Can you hear me now?
That's better, yeah.
Okay, I was just leaning down. That's all. I guess
no.
Whatever. I won't lean down. I'll sit straight up. Yeah, we were together as a couple probably for, maybe it was a long time ago, 8 or 9 months. Although we carried on something behind the scenes that no one ever knew about because we could not stay away from each other. We didn't understand what it was. It's just that we could not, we had to be in each other's presence for some reason. We didn't know what it was. Even when... We even went out on double dates together, like her with her new boyfriend and me with my new girlfriend, because we just needed to be in close proximity to each other. We didn't understand what it was. And the day she passed, I had literally, we were miles apart, and this was about 2.5 years after we had met. And I was at work, and she was a few miles away, and it was as if someone punched me in the stomach. I had to lean up against the wall to stop from falling down. It was as if half of me was suddenly ripped away, and I began to. I knew then. Well, I didn't know what it was. It wasn't until after I learned about twins through your website that I realized that there must be more to this person that I thought that I realized. And what I found out was from Sananda, because I had a conversation through a channel, my memories were wiped for over 30 years. And the reason why they were wiped is because after she had passed, all the years I thought I was fine with her passing. I thought that I was okay with her dying, and it was just a girlfriend who'd passed away, and that wasn't the case. I found out after he had told me the reason why my memories were wiped was to not understand the importance of her, and so I would move on with life and have a family and whatnot. And what I just found out recently was that wasn't the case, because I asked my mother what happened, because no one has really discussed it in over 30 years. It turns out that I fell apart, and I was like the shell of a person back then. And my mother told me that everything was removed from the house that she thought that I might hurt myself with. And Sananda had told me that was one of the reasons why my memory was wiped, and my memory was wiped totally, so I wouldn't focus on her. So I didn't know where the what had happened, like why. I thought, maybe it was other deaths in my family.
You lost the passion and the grief. Okay.
Right, exactly. I wouldn't focus on just the one person.
Let's move ahead, because I want to. So that was then, and it was traumatic, but it ended, and then you had 30 years of Earth life and a family. You got that out of the way, and you participated as you planned to do. And then something happened 30 years later that you connected.
Right.
How did that happen? How did it happen?
Well, what happened was, through the course of 2011, I was working on a book and preparing a website. FredGreaves.com. It was the information basically that we all know about right now. Although back 4 years ago, the public just wasn't ready for that information. And at the end of January 2012, I started getting this overwhelming feeling about this person who passed away. And this is when it all started, about this person who had passed away over 30 years ago. And I didn't understand what was happening to me, and I had written in the book about her and about this other girl who happened to be named Cheryl too, because, like you had said, I was still in high school, so after we had broken up, I had dated another girl, and her name happened to be Cheryl. Oh, I'm sorry, I should tell the audience there. Lucina's name when she was incarnated was Cheryl. I call her Lucina now all the time because we have moved so far, and I'm just more comfortable with calling her a name that I've always called her for centuries.
Yeah.
So anyway, I was started getting this overwhelming feeling that I was focusing on the wrong Cheryl, because I'd always thought in the back of my mind that what would happen, because I was with this other Cheryl for a very long time and this and that, and it escalated from there. And in 2014, when the veil was being, I'd heard this on your show, as a matter of fact. Zora had mentioned that the veil was coming down in May of 2014. She was able to. I haven't heard her voice in over 30 years at that point, and she just called out to me. She just called my name. She just said Fred, and I knew exactly who it was. I didn't even think twice. I didn't have a chance. I didn't even have a chance to figure out where it was coming from, to know it was coming, so I could analyze it and figure it out. But I knew immediately who it was, immediately, and and so it was just amazing. And then the actual conversation. It must have been
part of the plan. It must have been part of the plan, because if Sananda told you your memory was wiped so that you could go ahead and experience the Earth human life that you planned to do, then at a certain point, it was more or less restored. The connection was allowed at a certain time after. That's it. It's all part of. We all have our life plans. So then you recognized her, even though you'd been wiped from. She'd been wiped from your thoughts for 30 years. Suddenly, there you were together again.
Right, exactly. And then when I had spoken to Sananda in November of that year, in 2014, he had explained to me what had happened, because that was one of the questions I asked him, that is Cheryl my twin? Lucina is my twin. And he indeed confirmed it, and I had asked him if I was involved in a car accident 9 years after she passed, and I had asked him if we had devised that meeting because I had died a few times in the hospital and they revived me, and I had asked them, did we devise that meeting in our previous in between life, when we were conscious, as a way to reunite for a little while, so I can continue, before I continue on with my life, whatever. And he said, no, absolutely not. He goes, it was him that was there. He said Cheryl was there, although she was kept in the background purposely, because had I known who she was and what she was to me, that no one could convince me to come back. Not even him. He couldn't have done it. And I had to come back because he had said you would be woken up again in 2012. He said that. And I didn't understand at the time the reason why, but it was the project and everything else that we've done since then. So
okay, now let's get on to you did die a couple of times in that 30-year period, and you thought maybe that was part of the plan, but it wasn't. They didn't want you. I know. I personally, Sananda's told me I'm very blocked. If I really could feel the real connection of our power, I'd be out of here. So they've got me pretty well blocked. Yes, he communicates with me, but it's really diluted down. He says we can't let you feel the full power of my connection. Okay. So now, 30 years later, when she did connect and made the comment, and you wanted to know if she was your twin flame, a channel confirmed it and gave you her name of Lucina. You started at that point a real interaction, a serious interaction?
No. Well, first of all, what happened was the name Lucina did not come to me until well after the connection between Cheryl and I. Okay? It just came to me. It came to me one day while I was exercising. It just happened. And this is what happens with everyone, because a lot of people want to know their soul names and whatnot, and it just comes to you. It's just the feeling. It comes inside of you, and then someone in the higher dimensions, whether it be your twin or your higher self or whatever, they'll confirm it for you. They'll never tell you something because they don't want it to go in one ear and out the other. They want you to feel it, so this way it gets cemented into your being.
Exactly.
So anyway, so that night, I had asked that question, and he had confirmed, yes, indeed. And then one of my other questions was, okay, fine, so when are we going to be reunited then? And that's when the channel said to me, well, ask her yourself. She's been listening the whole time. And it knocked me. It knocked me on the floor. I couldn't believe it. So I literally spoke to her right then and there. And she had said to me that she knew that I was back and pretty much fully awake by something I had said immediately. It was a pet name that I called her over the centuries, but not once in this incarnation, when it was Cheryl and Fred when I was younger. Yeah, and after the call, I had said to myself, well, where did that come from? Why did I say that? And it just came out naturally, and I call that all the time now. It was just natural. So, and it just really started to.
So that was 2 years ago, and from where you were then, and where you are today, she's been mentoring you on. You interact verbally. You have conversations just as if she was sitting there in a human body, and she's always with you, and she's mentoring you and teaching you. How have you changed? What is your outlook now from where it was 2 years ago after being in full connection with your twin?
I'm two different people. That book that I wrote, I'm so glad that I wrote that book, because the Fred of pre-2012, I don't remember him anymore. I don't remember any of those experiences, which I had no problem writing everything down, because that Fred was from a success-driven competition world. And now, because I've been mentored and taught all this stuff, I live in the present, and I just know that everything just comes to you. Just let it go. There's no reason to force anything, and everything that was the other now, me was always forcing.
Tell me what a typical day is for you. Now that you're connected, it's a way of life. Do you have any of your old 3D pastimes that you still indulge in?
No, I pretty much have backed out of everything, and that's
so you live a 5D life. You actually live a life with Lucina now. Period.
Yes. I'm basically a 5D being operating in a three-dimensional world. And in order for me to continue with my connection and keep on moving forward, and I want to, I've just totally backed out of it now. Whenever there's any kind of a function or whatnot, I just don't go anymore. I just spend all my time with her, and I do some barefoot walking, because I'm a sun gazer, and ever since you posted about the barefoot walking, I do that. And I have other mentors now also that have connected with me, and it's just amazing what has happened over the last few years.
You've got a lot of people in your life. I mean, first it was Lucina, and now you say that you have other mentors, and I know Lucille is there, because when Ancient Awakenings told us we were all going to have our own fairy mentor, you recognized Lucille right away, and she and Lucina know each other. And then you have higher beings, your own higher beings. I mean, all these have come into your life. Tell us, before you go into that, we want to know how you arrange your life so that all of this is happening. You got to know her, and then you talked to her, and she was there, and then that was your whole focus. So what is your daily life like? You get up at what time, and what do you do?
Well, I usually get up around 4 a.m. Sometimes I wake up earlier. It's very hard for me when I wake up in the middle of the night not to want to stay up, because that's my best time of connecting with her. She's with me 100% of the time, yes. Although between the hours of, let's say, 4 in the morning and when I begin my 3D day, which is very limited, about, let's say, between 9 and 10, I'm exclusively alone with her. And that's my best time. We have literally been speaking and talking for 2 years now, and we haven't stopped. I'll even wake up in the middle of the night just real quickly, and she's right there, and we're talking. And sometimes we get in such a deep conversation, I don't go back to sleep for a while. So
I remember when you were talking, because you have evolved, your own body is going upward, and you're kind of a forerunner. What did I say on the site? Well, anyway,
the way
you
shower.
are
the way shower.
A way shower, yeah, because with this active and working, you're learning things. She's teaching you things. You want to go one way. She says, "No, Fred, you've got to put this music up because this is us." So you get into real, honest to goodness conversations and education, and your body, and you've changed your eating habits. I'm sure. And you were talking, I loved it when you were talking about walking down the sidewalk and you kicked a rock and didn't hear the sound. And that you were walking down the sidewalk where grass was growing across the sidewalk, but you never felt it brushing your legs. This is really strange. Do those things happen, or can you tell us
all
about
the time?
that?
Yes, they happen all the time. The thing with the grass, I after about an hour and a half into a walk, I realized that there was nothing hitting my legs because there were all these grass and flowers that were hanging over the side of the path, and I looked down, and I was actually walking through them, and the more I focused on it, the more it came back into reality, and then they hit my legs. But it did take about a minute or so before that happened. Now, the same thing happened to me just recently, as a matter of fact, when I was barefoot walking. I noticed that this field that I walk in always has these mushrooms, and I never felt them crushing underneath my feet. So I happened to look down because she always tells me to look far away, to look up into the sky or to look into the distance, into nature or whatever. She tells me never focus on, one, anything man-made, and two, anything close. Always look far away. So I never was looking down to see what I was doing. And and I looked down at that point, and I saw my foot go over a mushroom. So then I just turned my head and said, okay, well, let me see what it looks like after I pull my foot up. And it wasn't there. And what was happening was they weren't even there. It was as if they were seen in the field, but whenever I came by, whenever I walked on them, I've never heard anything. This is when I understood, as I was walking around there, and I understood the connection with the planet. The reason why Zora always tells us, or Zorea, I'm not really sure which one it is, that they don't walk on the grass down in Hollow Earth.
Yeah, right. They don't.
Now, so I understand why now, because everything's conscious. Everything is conscious.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And I think the mushroom disappearing is because it went into a different dimension with you.
Right.
Probably after you left, it appeared again,
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Right. Exactly. Because I circle around the same field for over an hour, and it's not like they disappear. They're always there.
Now, you said you're noticing, you got excited when we got into the sun gazing part. And I know you walk every day, you and Lucina, and sometimes she plays games and jumps up on your back and you can feel her. Is that true?
Yeah, she's always playing games with me. Yes. Back when we were first united, when she joined with me, and that's all that information's on the website and in that video and whatnot. They explain it as you join with me. 4 months after November 7th of 2014, so in March of the following year, she joined with me. Okay, and there was some kind of and we were only able to speak at that point. Okay, but yet since we weren't connected yet, I had to call her to me. Okay.
Oh.
So after she joined with me, she's literally with me now all the time. So that specific night, she joined with me. Well, actually, within a few days after that, there was an incident, and I won't get into detail about the incident, although she knows how I am and how Fred is, because we were incarnated together, and she's been following me for over 30 years. So there was an incident, and she needed to be not inside me, needed to be with me. You need to hang out with me, in order to resolve what happened that night. And she reached out to Sananda, and Sananda taught her how to build like a fifth dimensional bubble around my presence, my bed, so she can come out and talk to me and be with me. So what happened was she learned that. So 2 days later, or maybe even a day later, I don't remember what it was, we were walking, and we were having a conversation. And like I said, she wasn't next to me yet. And suddenly I saw this. I saw it as clear as day. It was in my mind's eye, but I saw it. She suddenly jumped. She goes, watch. All of a sudden I hear, watch what I can do. and she jumps out of me, and she starts running in circles around me, and she jumps on my back, and I could feel the weight of her on my back. And I go,
wow.
How did you do that? I go, how did you do that? She goes, well, I figured, you know what? If I was able to do it the other night, I could do it now all the time. And as long as we're in close proximity, I can do this. As long as I'm right next to you. And so that's the way now when she walks with me, she's not in me, she's holding my hand, and I can feel her holding my hand.
Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah.
So this
great.
is what's open to all of us, to make the connection, to open ourselves to this wonderful experience that's open to everybody, just like what you're experiencing. Do you ramble around the internet and see what everybody's talking about and stuff like that, or?
No. That's the key. The key is to go inside and to trust yourself, your inner self. And all the speakers have been speaking about it today, and it's very important not to go outside of yourself and go inside and trust your own inner self, because that's the true world. That's where the answers lie. All the answers lie inside, and everyone can do it. Everyone that's listening to this call can do it. It's just a matter of just finding a little quiet time. At first, when I first started with my quiet time, which is 4 or 5 hours now, it started out at 15 minutes, but yet the reason why it grew was because it started feeling so good, and I started to realize, I go, wait a minute, what I'm seeing with my physical eyes is not real. The real world is inside, and when you begin to go inside, that's where, like I said, that's where the real world is, and that's when you begin to connect with the other side. And you get to knowing.
You get to that knowing. It's so real that we're on the outside. People are still fishing around between each other. What do you think? What do you think? I'm going to compare with so and so. I'm going to see if I can get confirmation. And they're running around to each other. People in human bodies that are burdened with all that comes along with a human body, looking for enlightenment, and they're not going to find it out there.
Right. The answers are always inside. You never go outside yourself, because that's somebody else's opinion. Again, in my video on the website, and this is so true, I really have more of a belief in anything that I hear from up above, from the galactics and whatnot, because I know where that's coming from. It's coming from self-love and whatnot, as opposed to people on the planet that are trying to make sense of what they're hearing or what they're saying. It's not that it's not good information, but it just makes no sense.
It's all muddled up with other people's opinions, interacting with other people's opinions, and you're never going to get to real truth through anything like that.
Right, exactly. You know what? And when you begin to go inside, and when you begin to trust yourself, you feel it. I mean, you just feel it in your inner being, in your core, and you just know things are right. And and I really feel as if I always make the right decision now, because you know what? I really don't make decisions. I just be now. And everything just comes to me. That's it. I just live in the present, and that's just the way it should be.
Well, when you went into the sun gazing, you were amazed at the evolution you were experiencing through sun gazing, and it was a week or two later you added the barefoot walking, and then you were astonished at you were making a journal because you were having new things emerge from the barefoot walking. It was expediting your learning. Is that true?
Oh, yes. I've been sun gazing for years now. As a matter of fact, I think it was Zora that told me about it, or told the audience about it. And I was just listening to one of your calls one day, and that's what expedited her reaching out to me and her being able to connect with me in November of that year, because I had already started sun gazing probably about 5 months before that, and I never stopped. I've been doing it ever since, and I always knew about the barefoot walking, the grounded. I always knew about that because of just what you posted on the site and whatnot. I've always known the importance of grounding.
Now that is on Fred's web page with Hollow Earth Network, folks. If you want to learn about sun gazing, we had a wonderful article that I posted that brought the subject up with Fred, because as you say, he was already doing it, but it gave more information. And so it's posted on hollowearthnetwork.com. That's our primary website. And about the 6th page down in the page list, you'll see Meet Our Hen Family. Meet Our HEN, Hollow Earth Network, Meet Our Hen Family. And when you click on that, the very first subpage listed at the bottom where the subpages is How to Find Your Twin Flame. And when you click on it, you're in Fred's world. And it gives a link to his own website. And when you click on that, as you scroll down chronologically, I posted a lot of his fun emails as these things walking through the grass, having a bird come and want to talk to him, and he was too busy with Lucina. I'll let him tell you that story. But he has evolved so much, and but that sun gazing was a big springboard for him. So you can see how to do it right there on his page. When you go to Meet Our Hen Family and you go down and click on How to Find Your Twin Flame, you'll see these emails. And if you go backwards in time, not very far, you'll see this wonderful article on sun gazing, and that's a good point of beginning, isn't it, Fred?
Yes, it is. It is. Although what I had said, and I believe you had posted it below that, is because a lot of people were looking at that article and taking it verbatim, exactly what it said. The procedures and whatnot. That 10 seconds of staring at the sun, and this and that. Yeah. And I did try that at first, because I cannot get out first thing in the morning, because I live in suburbia, and the sun sets. It's just the sun doesn't set on this side. I did it a little bit differently. What I do is I sun gaze. I told you I get up at 4:00 in the morning. When the sun starts, when I can see the sun, which is around 7-ish. I know it comes up much earlier, but that's when I can see it. Yeah. I open up my blinds and I literally stare at the sun, and it'll go on for as long as the sun's in my vision, which is usually, I would say, about a half hour. And
oh boy!
I've been doing that for years now. And even before my meditation extended to the length of time it is now, what I would do is, during the course of the day, I would pull over to the side of the road. And even though you're not supposed to look at the sun, that's what the article said, when it was that bright during the day, I would purposely make sure the car window was up to block the harmful rays. And this way I was able to look at the sun. Now, I didn't look at it for a half hour straight. It would only be for a minute, and I'd turn away and go back, and and I'd go back and forth until my eyes adjusted and was able to hold it a little bit longer. But where there's a will, there's a way. So so that's what I was saying.
That's a first step, along with the critical meditation that you said started with 15 minutes, but now it's gone to 5 hours. And we just have to be patient with ourselves as we enter this new world of meditation that is really the real world. But we keep thinking, others can do it, but there's nothing in there for me. I sit there and I get nervous and I get irritable and I want to get going and I get thinking about things. And we just have to nurture ourselves, soothe ourselves down, and just let go, and just be. And soon it becomes, the more you sit in the same place every day, where your energies will build, and you have crystals in your meditation spot, don't you, Fred?
Yes, yeah. I've written you several stories. The reason why I'm chuckling is because she hides them. I mean, she moves them around. She she's constantly doing something because she knows how important they are to me. So she tries to drive me crazy. We joke with each other. And the other day I found one of my crystals in the middle of the room, and it's incredible. It's yes, I do have crystals in the meditation, though, yes.
Yeah, and then they're sacred to you, and then you carefully put them away after the meditation.
Yes. And,
but
said,
we don't have to do crystals. It can be a candle. It can be a vase of flowers. It can be, one crystal that you focus on. So, but it's our own sacred space. And the more we go back to it, the more at home. It's like if you sit in a movie and you sit in one seat and somebody wants you to move to another, you've already got that seat charged with your own energy. You don't want to move over to another seat and start. Well, we do that with our own meditation spot. And the more we go, pretty soon it's calling us, because we've left so much energy there, and it gets easier and easier. Is that the way you find it, Fred?
Oh, without a doubt. As a matter of fact, that's one of the keys. And when people first connect with me through the project, I let them know to meditate. When they do, is to try to do it in the same spot all the time, because it gets anchored. That spot gets anchored to your energies, and you're exactly right when you say it actually calls. It actually calls to you. And I find myself, even beyond the 4 or 5 hours, it'll be sometime in the middle of the day, I'll say, all right, I just need to go in there and spend some time in there. And I'll go in this one spot, and I'll call her in, and she's always with me anyway, although there's just a deeper connection at that specific spot because, like I said, it's anchored to your energies. You're right. So that's what happens.
That's it. That's where you feel at home. That's where you find yourself again. You go back to yourself there.
Right,
now,
exactly.
This twin flame project that you've got going, we've got 10 minutes otherwise we're going to lose our online listeners, but the recording will continue. And when you listen to the replay of Blog Talk Radio, you'll hear the whole thing and the telephone, but we're going to lose our live listeners online in just about 8 minutes. What inspired you to do this website?
Well,
and to do what you're doing to help people connect. What inspired you?
Okay. Well, originally it was only supposed to be a informational website, and actually it was her idea. The very first night we were connected, on November 7th in 2014, she had several suggestions, but one of them was to create a website that we can write together. And from that night forward, I started, writing notes down and this and that, and I started building the website over time. And from your calls, I learned about the headbands. And I called up Christine and ordered a headband, and she was shocked by the energy. She said she could feel the energy coming through the phone. She couldn't believe what was going on. And we're 1,000 miles apart. And she said, Fred, what I see is you sitting on the floor in the position in a cross-legged position, with her behind you, giving you information on how to connect twins. And she goes, I really think you should do that. And she was super excited, but not me. I was like, after I hung up the phone with her, I said, Cheryl, Lucina, but Cheryl I called her at the time. I said, I was just calling for us. I just wanted, for a better connection for us. I don't know if I want to throw myself out into the public like that. And she goes, well, we can do this, Fred. We can definitely do it. So I ended up speaking to her again, Christine, and I moved forward. She even named it. She goes, you know what? I think you should call it the Twin Flame Project. And
I'll be darned. Christine, who makes our headbands and our healing rods, right?
Yeah. Yes. Now, she wrote a testimony to you. Do you have it?
I've got it right here. Let me read it before we run out of the live time for those that are listening online. This came to me yesterday from Christine. We wanted to have her on the show, but she's in a remote area and doesn't have good reception. So she wrote this for me and sent it to me yesterday. She said, when Fred first called me, I felt this amazingly strong energy coming through the phone. I now know it was his twin. She spoke through me to Fred. He asked her later, and she said, yes, I did say that to you through her. His twin is so strong and lovely. It was an absolute joy to allow the universal energy to flow through me and bring forth the vision of Fred helping people find their twin with his twin's help. I saw it so clear. I insisted he get excited. I am so thankful for the gift that Fred and his twin have to connect twins. I now have my twin's attention the second I ask for it. My twin sends me songs and tells me things to do for myself that I would not have thought of, that make me smile as if he was here, loving me and doing things for me. What an awesome world we have. I'm super ready to be with my twin. Love to everyone, and thank you, Zora, for the headband technology that opens up everything so much faster. Blessings from Christine, who does the Hollow Earth headbands and healing rods. So she's the one that named the twin, and that was the launch, and people are now coming to you, and you're able to identify their twins?
Yes. It's all an energy thing, and we do exactly what she envisioned for those 4 or 5 hours. That's exactly how I sit, and she is talking to me. It's exactly what she envisioned.
Oh, she saw it. Yeah, she's great. Yeah.
She saw it, and yes. So what we do is, because of her connection, it's like I said, it's just an energy connection. It's really
well. Tell
not
us
hard.
about your Twin Flame project right now. What? Because we're going to go off the live listeners, but the recording will continue. Tell us what your current project is. You did what she said, and how is it working? Are people connecting?
Oh yeah, people are connecting left and right. I'm getting testimonies constantly of people that are connecting with their twins, and even ones that want a twin and want someone in their life in the physical. They've connected with their twin who's not in the physical, who has brought a person into their life, so they have someone to keep them company, and so they're not lonely. That's what twins do. They unconditionally love us, and I get testimonies constantly from people. It's really
what
just
do people do to connect with you, Fred, so you can help them find their twin?
Well, what they need to do is go to the Twin Flame Project. Okay, that's what you're asking me, right? Okay.
Yeah, because we're down to 60 seconds for the listeners. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Yes, go to the Twin Flame Project and go to where it says Meet Your Twin. Okay, you can click on there, and from there, it'll ask you for a little bit of information, and I'll get notified, and then I will reach out to you from there with the name of your twin and guide you through where what you need to do to connect with them. And then I also send out little email blasts. I always send out little notices to re-encourage people, to give them little bits of insights and little extra things that they can do to move them along, so they can go from, let's say, an energetic connection to a verbal connection. And by verbal, I'm always, because people have asked me this before, it's always telepathy. Always telepathy. That's the best way to get in touch with them, because it's looked on as an advanced thing. Well, it's something that we have always done. It's something that we have always an ability we've always had. It was just taken away from us a long time ago.
Yes. Well, good. Now, we've lost our online listeners, but the recording will be complete. When you go back to re-listen to this show, the recording will continue with us as we're moving on. And, of course, the telephone line is still connected. It's just the live online listeners ended after 3 hours, mind you. So I had to rush you a little bit to get that on there for them before we lost them. So you have found yourself in a pretty important position because, as I understand it, and I've said it recently in a newsletter, what is lying before us? What is our next step? And our next step is connecting with our twins. When we have the landings, the twins are going to be running off the ships, and they'll find us. We don't have to find them. But meanwhile, any connection you can make prior to that is just going to get you off to a great start. You won't be so shocked. You'll welcome your twin because you already know your twin. So that's the place that we're at right now. And also, you said that, and we touched on this at the beginning of the show, some people who are in a very happy Earth relationship aren't looking for a twin. They're happy where they are. But they may have wished that they could have had just a few more words with someone before they passed, and they feel unfinished. They feel there's unfinished business. They just want closure and completion. And so rather than connecting them with the twin, you're able to make a connection with this past one, the one who passed?
Yes. Well, based on everything that I've learned over the last couple of years, that everything's about energy. The entire universe is all based on energy. So it would be relatively easy for me right now to go ahead and connect people with the energies of their past loved ones. It's a little different with the twins. I need a little bit more information, which is the reason why when you do open the lines, the 10 people that I promised that I would connect, I'm going to need them to, rather than me connecting them on the phone, I'm going to need them to send me over their name, and I'm going to write down the name so I can verify it when it comes in. And I just need their birth date. That's it. That's all they need to send, and that's what everyone sends when they go to meet your twin.
Okay, well, you better tell them what you're talking about now, because unfortunately, those that have lost the connection with the live show won't have this opportunity. But those that are listening right now, still, and we do have hands raised. We've got a lot of hands raised, and we can just work our way on through them. They have a question, but also, what are you offering them, Fred?
Okay, well, first, before I start answering the questions, okay, in order for you to connect with your loved ones, okay, this is what you do. And it would be best, because I'm not coaching you personally, it would be best if this person was at one point alive with you. So this way your energies are connected, whether it be a mother that's passed away, or a father, or a brother, or whatever, or a wife, whatever, just someone, or a friend even. It can even be a friend. It doesn't have to be a relative. Just think of that person. And just think of that person's name that you would like to get in touch with them. and ask them to send you an energy pulse within your body so you have a confirmation that they're there, because they are right there. I can actually see the space in spaces now. Like when people see just air in front of them, I can see there's a lot of activity there. They're right there, right? They're right in front of us. They're right around. It's just a matter of just a vibrational connection. It's really not hard at all. So what you do is you ask to connect with them, and you ask them to send you an energy pulse. So this way, when you feel something go through your body, you'll know that, well, they are connecting with me. And then you can actually so you can confirm who you're speaking to. You can actually carry on a yes-no conversation with them. Not a verbal conversation, but you can ask them, and when I say ask, like I said, always do this in your head. Use telepathy. Ask them, can you send a pulse to my left side for a yes and my right side for a no? And then you can ask them whatever you want. You can, am I connected to so-and-so? And they'll say yes, and then, or no, whatever. But it should be yes, obviously. And then you can ask them whatever you want. And then this way you can carry on a conversation with them, even though they passed away, whatever, last week, 10 years ago, it doesn't matter. I speak to my past relatives all the time. I speak to my dad all the time. He came in right before the show started, and he told me, he goes, I'm so proud of you, what you're doing, and it's just amazing. And he passed away in 2008. Oh. And I speak to him all the time. So anyway, that's what I wanted to do, and it seems short, although it is significant enough for people to do. And you just have to believe that it's possible. And that's a very important
But it all has
key.
to be done inside your heart and your brain. You cannot focus outside like you're reaching out for them. You could pull in the wrong energy.
Right. That's right. And there's a lot of false energies out there, and that's the reason.
Yeah. It's got to be contained within your own aura, within your own energies. You go within to ask. You don't, because you think they're out there, you don't go out. You don't focus out. If you do that, you're going into dangerous territory.
Right. Right, exactly, and that's the reason why it's bad for people who go to, let's say, outside channels to speak to their twin or speak to whoever, because you never know who's going to come through. And
that's right.
Not only is it bad, is it dangerous, but it can be very confusing. And I've spoken to people about it before, and I said, well, you need to go inside, because you can't lie to the heart mind. It's impossible. You just can't do it. It can't be done. So, and they can't read your mind, and that's the whole thing. They cannot read your mind. Yes, if you go to an outside source, they can make it sound great, but
there's imposters of some of the greatest cosmic masters. When people go outside, you don't know, and that's where some of our best channels have gotten hurt. They think they're talking to one, and they find out that they're, or they don't find out, but later we learn that it was an imposter they were talking with. Yeah.
Yes.
It's because they went outside. Yeah.
Right. No. I was just going to agree with you. That's all. And I just hope everyone really realizes that, because so many people want to try to figure out the easy way out, and really the easy way out is to go inside. They don't think that.
Yeah.
The mind chatter will go away. Right. The mind chatter will go away. Yes, I know that it's rough at first. Like I said, I started at 15 minutes, and even that was torture for me, because the mind chatter wouldn't stop. What I had to do that day, or this, the to-do list, everything. And now I can sit 4 or 5 hours easy. And it's really not a problem. Actually, I kind of said to myself, "Oh, great! I got to start my day now." because it's so much more peaceful when you get inside and you realize that's the real world.
Well, that is the biggest message of all, and that's eventually what every single one of us is going to have to do, and the sooner the better. And once you finally break the ice and begin, each day it's going to be more welcoming, and pretty soon you'll be just like Fred and I. You don't want to leave. Your energies are already there, and those of your masters and guides that are overseeing you, they're all there. They're building up a cocoon of energy, and it calls you. You want to go back, but you have to start building that cocoon.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So, well, Fred, I was going to ask you about ascension symptoms. We're all at different points on our route to ascension, and you are experiencing some ascension symptoms. I'm experiencing ascension symptoms. All relative, they're not the same. They're relative to where we are, and each person is going to have something different. But it doesn't mean that it's something to be concerned with. It's ascension symptoms. Is there anything that you want to comment about that at all?
Yes. Well, actually there is, and this is very important. I have been taught, because the ascension symptoms have been coming in various different kinds, whether it be just all different kinds of symptoms. I was just told to embrace them and realize that it's not a problem. Whether it be vertigo or tiredness or other symptoms that are a little bit more, some of them are a little bit more entailed. Just realize that that's exactly what they are, and embrace them as a positive change. Our bodies are being changed from from carbon-based to crystalline, to accept the sun and to accept light. And that's not an easy task. This is the first time it's ever been done. And our bodies are being changed so we can ascend without passing on. It was very easy when we passed on, because then we just hop into another body. I told you the 23 grams that leave. They hop into the new body, and that body is prepared for to go up into the higher levels. And what they're doing now is they're recreating our bodies that have been so used to these dense energies for all these years to actually raise up to them and to be able to accept the light energies and whatnot. So, but I've been just told to embrace them. And it can be uncomfortable, but don't think you're sick. You can get nauseous. You can have deep cleansings. It's got to come out physically. The body is going to go through physical changes, but don't go running to the doctor. They will apply all their dangerous applications that have no relevance. They have no idea. Just embrace it and know it may not be comfortable, but it's part of the deal, and we signed on for it. We knew that. We came down here to bring these bodies back with us, so that later on we're going to be emissaries to other planets who are going to need a 3D body, and we don't want to be born as a baby and go through all that. We want to have a vehicle ready, and that's what this one is. Is that correct, Fred? Yes. And it's just, like I said, this is the first time it's ever been done. We're taking our bodies, our memories, everything with us. It's just never been done before. I remember I had a dream, probably about a year ago, whatever. And you know how they've always told us how they really look up to us, for what we've done and what we're going through and this and that. Yeah, they have. And they've said that on the recordings. Right. That's why there's these spaceships, there's billions, trillions of spaceships from all over the universe. Universe is here to watch what we're doing, to see what we'll do next. I don't know exactly what happened, but I do remember it was in the future. At one point in the future, and someone was shaking my hand and said, "Oh, it's amazing! You were really there." and it was like they had looked at me they were looking at me with such awe, as if it's amazing what we're doing. We do not feel that way because we're involved in the day-to-day life down here, but we are doing some amazing stuff here, and it's just, you have to go with the flow. That's all you can do. Is just go with the flow.
And just know that it's taking us, if we're non-resistant and you go with the flow, which we're told, oh, that's the greatest thing, just don't resist. Take the most positive attitude at whatever comes, and it'll take you there. We don't have to swim upstream and force things from our own viewpoint. That's not where we're going. We're going where the flow is going.
Exactly. Just put your boat in and just let the river take you wherever it's going to go. It's only going to lead the source anyway. So
right.
Humans have spent their whole lives trying to paddle upstream, and that's what I was saying before about I've learned not to force things. Just go with it. Just be. That's it. So
if you have uncomfortable ascension symptoms, again, it's the same story. Go with the flow. Allow it. Drink a lot of water. Your body knows what it's doing. It's already programmed to do this. That's part of the plan. And it may not be comfortable, but it's part of the plan. And the more you just flush it through, drink a lot of water, watch every bite of food. If it's not organic, purify it with your hands. We know how to do that, and Zora's told us many times. So if it's not organic, purify it with your hands. The left hand with the vortex, with the little finger, ring finger, and middle finger touching the thumb. And that makes a hole. It makes a tunnel. And the forefinger just points out in front. That's your left hand. The right hand is like a close-fingered, straight hand karate chop. And whatever you're purifying is in between. And so this vortex of your left hand is going to flow this energy and be attracted to the right hand. And it's going to flow through a glass of water. It's going to flow through a piece of fruit, a plate of food. Fred and I, we don't eat hardly any food anymore. And that's part of the ascension symptoms. Food is going to sound nauseous. Your body's rejecting it. It doesn't need it anymore. The higher it goes, the less it's going to want of 3D substance. So we're just at a very critical point right now. I think we've covered so much, Fred. I had two little things left about your 4 mentors, your 4 higher selves that are working with you, and you and your fairy mentor, Lucille, yesterday. Did you take her and her fairy friends for a walk or something yesterday?
I took them to the beach. I'm always taking them on. Yeah, I'm always taking them on little field trips. I just love having them around because they bring such a positive energy in the room. It's like having a bunch of little kids in the room. Not that they're kids, but it's the innocence. It's just incredible. It's amazing. So
you took them to the beach, and they all had a beach party, huh?
Oh, they had a blast. They had a blast. A few weeks ago, I invited some of them in. I had told Lucina to do it because I was with my family, my immediate family, not my kids.
Yeah.
And I was just hanging out there. I said, go get Lucille and bring some of her friends here and let them have some fun. And they had such a great time. And just like I'm able to see through, one day I saw through Lucille's eyes, and I saw myself showing them how the inside of my car worked, the radio and this and that. I was able to look through Lucina's eyes and see them playing in the surf, in the water.
Oh.
And they had such a great time. So I told them, this was a few weeks ago, so I told them that I was gonna take more of them, as many as they wanted, and I told them when I was gonna go, and Lucina has told me that every day they've been so excited, and they actually they were making lists of, even though they can manifest whatever they want, they wanted the real experience of dragging stuff across the sand and all this stuff. And they were all making little lists of who's going to bring what and who's going to do this, who's going to bring that. And and they just had they had a great time. They had a wonderful time, and I just love bringing them.
What a wonderful life you have, Fred. That is such a wonderful life.
No, it's fantastic. It really is, and it just only takes to tap into it to see what's going on, because otherwise you just, if you're oblivious to it, you'll just look around and see the other people. Lucina will tell me, just concentrate, and you'll be able to see what's going on. And that's what I do, and then I can see it. It's just concentrating. That's it. And
people can have their own twins coaching them, just like Lucina coaches you. But they have to begin. They have to ask. They have to open their heart. They have to go sit down in their quiet, sacred space. They have to ground and get out in nature. They have to change their lifestyle. You're not going to find it chattering around with other confused human beings out there. You're just going to pick up more clutter. The purity and the knowing is within, and it's waiting. And Sananda's told us, Zora's told us, that Ashtar's told us, always go within. That's the whole message. And yet people, did someone just wanted confirmation from you? She was collecting opinions so she could get confirmation or something. It's it's so yeah.
Yes.
Go
ahead.
I'm
sorry. I thought you were just referring to the person from last night that we were talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, she had asked for confirmation on something, and she asked me to give Zora a call because she knows that I have a connection with them and I can do that. And I said, but I just can't do that. I would never use that kind of, that I would never abuse that. And
privilege,
I said, you can find out yourself. All you need to do is go inside. Stop going outside. She goes, well, I want confirmation. I go, the confirmation is inside. Go inside. And less than 24 hours later, she had finally listened to what I had said, and she sent me a text back. It wasn't a conversation. She sent me a text back. She said, oh, thank you so much, Fred. I did exactly what you said, and I got the confirmation. Because when you go inside, you can't fake feelings. When you get a feeling on the inside, you just know. It's just, that's it. You just know.